Hey friends, it's Holly from Chic Antique and welcome back to my channel. This week's video is a challenge. This one is hosted by Sab from Sab's Rehabs here on YouTube and Instagram. She challenged a bunch of us YouTubers to create a spring inspired piece. This is the Spring Fling challenge. So I'm going to be making over this jewelry box I got at the thrift store. I got this for $4. So I'm going to be painting this and giving it a good makeover. I will say I paint jewelry boxes because it is enjoyable for me and I like the process, but I don't have very much success selling them. If they do sell, it takes months to sell them after I finish painting them, so just keep in mind this probably won't be a quick sell, but I really enjoy painting these, so that's what I'm going to do. I need to give this a really good clean, but before I do so, I'm going to remove these little handles first so I can get everything as clean as possible. I'm also going to be removing this top as well. This makes it easier to clean and easier to paint. Now I'm going to be cleaning with LA's Totally Awesome Cleaner. This is a really good cleaner and degreaser. You can find it at the Dollar Tree, and it has directions on the back how to mix it up. I use a 10-to-1 ratio, which is 1 part cleaner and 10 parts water. After using any type of cleaner, I always come back afterwards with a clean rag and rinse off any residue left behind. Because this jewelry box is a slick surface, I'm going to be using a bonding primer. This is Dixie Belle Slick Stick, and it's going to help my paint adhere properly to the shiny surface. I'm using a foam applicator brush to apply this. I'm stippling it on first to get some coverage, and then I'm smoothing it out with a long stroke after it's applied. Since the factory finish was well intact and didn't have any damage, I didn't want to risk sanding into the finish because there's a possibility that this wood could bleed through. But because this top coat was in really good condition, that creates a barrier between the wood and the paint, so I'm not going to have any bleed through. But if I did use sandpaper to scuff up the surface, that could cause bleed through. I'm not totally sure if it would, but I'd rather not risk it, so that's why I'm using this primer instead of scuff sanding. They recommend letting your first coat dry for 2 hours, then coming back and recoating, and then allowing everything to dry overnight so you can get the best adhesion possible. So after letting that dry, I'm going to start painting, and I'll be using Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint in the color Apricot. This is a peachy pink color. It is light pink, but it does have a strong peachy orange undertone, so it's perfect for spring. I haven't used this color for over a year now, and when I saw the interior of this jewelry box, I knew I had to use this color again so that it would match the felt interior as close as possible. This is a really close match. And when it's dry, you can see how close the color is. When I get paint in these little hardware holes, I like to use a mechanical pencil to remove that paint. That way the paint doesn't block the screws when I'm putting the hardware back in. You don't want any paint in there. And I forgot to mention, I'm just using some artist brushes that I got from Hobby Lobby to apply this paint. In smaller areas, I'm using a very small artist brush. I don't mind using a smaller brush. I think it helps get in details and actually helps me paint faster sometimes. So I'm using a couple different size brushes for this. The nice thing about chalk paint, especially Dixie Belle chalk paint, is it dries very quickly. So Dixie Belle recommends recoating after 1 hour. The paint actually is dry to the touch within 30 minutes, which is awesome, but you can recoat within an hour. So that saves a lot of time compared to other types of paint. After that first coat dries, I'm coming back for my second coat. Because this is a light color, I actually needed to do 3 coats in total. I only filmed 2 coats because the third coat does get repetitive. But because this is a light color, I did need more coats to get full coverage, which isn't a big deal, especially for a piece this small. I also like to do really thin coats. This helps the paint dry evenly, thoroughly, and faster. And it also creates a more smooth finish. So if you're doing thick coats, it's going to dry with more brush strokes. So if you're doing light coats, you're going to get a smoother finish, but you may need an extra coat of paint, but that doesn't bother me. I'd rather have a smooth finish than apply 2 really thick, heavy coats and have a ton of brush strokes. After painting, I did leave the jewelry box to dry overnight. That way, when I came back in the morning, it would be ready to top coat. I'm using Dixie Belle's clear coat in a satin finish. Again, I'm using a small artist brush to apply this, and I'm using really thin layers and making sure to work quickly so that I don't get any extra brush strokes. Although I'll say with smaller pieces like this, it's a lot easier to get a smooth finish because there's not as much surface area for you to work in the clear coat. And I did let everything dry for a couple hours before I reassembled everything and put the hardware back on. If you can let it dry overnight, that's even better. Now that this makeover is complete, I just want to remind you what we started with. And here's how it looks now. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this makeover today. I hope you enjoyed it. I think this jewelry box turned out super cute and I hope it finds a home very soon. I love the color, I love the hardware. It reminds me of French provincial furniture, definitely updated with this peachy pink color. Please check out all of the other participants' videos. There's a playlist with all their videos linked in the description. Another thank you to Sab from Sab's Rehabs for hosting this challenge. I really enjoyed it and I'm super excited to see everyone else's makeovers. Again, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell before you go. That way you're notified every time I upload. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'm so tired. Maybe I'll just sleep. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, good night.